Well, good morning and welcome to another Wine Steward video. You know what holiday is on the horizon? A holiday that many of you celebrate even if you're not Irish, right? One way to do that would be to enjoy corned beef and cabbage with a great white wine, I would say. Another way would be to enjoy Irish whiskey. The problem, according to many of my peers who know more about spirits than I do, who are more experienced in the world of spirits, is that Irish whiskey is not necessarily disdained, it's just not necessarily as admired as bourbon from America or Scotch from Scotland. Irish whiskey is thought to be useful, but not necessarily impressive. How about that? Not enough depth necessarily. It's a nice drink. Well, we beg to differ when it comes to the spots. There's a yellow spot, there's a red spot, all made by this one producer in Dublin, Ireland. And we are carrying the green spot because it's damn good and it costs less than those other spots. I'm just here to tell you that having tasted this only a couple of weeks ago, I admire this over most of the Irish whiskey I've ever had. More depth, more stuff to it, more character. It's very, very good, and it may be the way you want to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. What is that, next Tuesday? I'm sure celebrations start this weekend, don't they? So celebrate with us, and just know that the Wine Steward has a good 6 or 12 bottles down there of green spot, appropriately colored, right? I have 3 other things to tell you. One of them is that we have just scored, it just arrived, the #1 wine on last year's Top 100 Wine Spectator list. #1. What was that? That was a Bordeaux from Chateau Giscourt. Chateau Giscourt is happening in the form of this one supersized bottle called a Magnum of Chateau Giscourt and 6 regular-sized 750 milliliter bottles. Both arrived yesterday. They're going to the collectible room. Yes, they will cost something over $100, but not a lot, maybe necessarily. This Magnum will. Anyway, just letting you know that this wine that is both saturated in color, super dark, glass staining, one of the critics called it, and yet elegant at the same time, because that's what Margaux, of all of those beautiful left bank situations, of all of those, Margaux is thought to be the more elegant and perhaps the more drinkable earlier on of those subregions of the left bank. Chateau Giscourt from Margaux, it's here. Like I said, #1 on last year's Wine Spectator Top 100 list. #1, 98 points from James Suckling. All the critics love this. Look it up. It's praised by everyone. So just so you know, we finally have some here for a little while. #2 thing to tell you, we have an event coming up. There is an event, finally. We have one on the calendar. It's March 29th. It's Sunday, late afternoon, early evening. I think we'll start this thing off at 4:30 p.m., 4:30 to 6:30 or so. You know me, when I approach this particular topic, I have to throw a lot of good wine at it. What is the topic? The Rhône Valley, in particular Châteauneuf-du-Pape. Why are we doing that now, this time of the year, when it's something we often do in November? Well, we'll probably do it in November too, but those of you who follow this topic, especially through the Wine Steward, know that we kind of skipped it last November, instead doing it way back last August because of the arrival of certain Chateauneufs at that time, and I couldn't sit on the money waiting till November with that product downstairs, so we did it in August. I'm just getting around to saying that it's been too long since we've done Châteauneuf-du-Pape and the Rhône environs, so why don't we get a bottle up here to further describe this place. This is a part of France that's warmer, sunnier, where they kiss you sometimes as often as 3 times instead of just twice. And the wines are the most famous GSMs, Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre, in the world. This is what the rest of the world emulates when we make here in Livermore and over in Spain, Australia, and so on. We are emulating, typically we're referring to our what's the word I'm trying to get? But our inspiration, the wines of the Southern Rhône, and in particular, the granddaddy of them all, Châteauneuf-du-Pape. That doesn't mean that this will be Châteauneuf-du-Pape exclusively. I'm sure we'll have 5, 6, 7 of those, and then we're going to visit the nearby villages and maybe save a little money. Yes, we'll have a Gigondas, or 2, or 3. We'll have Vaqueras. We will have Beaune de Venise. 3 of these wines I just tasted with our current Lynch rep, so we're going to have 3 wines made by the View Telegraph people. I think. I'm still building this list. The list will be too long and I'll have to cross some things out. But I do promise you at least 2 wines that are made by the View Telegraph Chateauneuf-du-Pape producer. So won't that be cool? We mix this up. We do it differently every time so that you Rhône fans get to try a lot of different stuff. I love that. Difference is what great wine's all about. All right, we've told you about Irish whiskey. We've told you about the arrival of the top wine, #1 on the Wine Spectator list, that's Chateau Giscourt. We've told you about our upcoming Chateauneuf-du-Pape event. That will appear on our website, thewinesteward.com, as soon as I finish this overlong video. You'll see that it happens at 4:30 on a Sunday this time on March 29th, all right? Now, the final thing I'd like to talk briefly about, yes, I promise to be brief, is our white wine flight. I think it's pretty cool this week. As you know, the menu changes every week. What I decided to do, perhaps out of boredom or just to mix it up, difference, was to create a flight that I'm calling schizophrenia, in that the whites are a bit of a roller coaster ride for your mouth. When we visit a winery, or perhaps this wine bar, we often arrange a flight, a tasting sequence from skinny and little wines and finishing with big. Well, this time we're going to go back and forth. So we're going to start with this wine that is a Kerner. Kerner? Is that a place? No, it's the name of a grape that was created about 100 years ago. The bringing together of Riesling and Trillinger, or Schiava, whichever you want to call that light red grape. So this is a white wine called Kerner, and you might get a tiny bit of Riesling's petrol in the nose, and then you anticipate perhaps a little bit of sweetness, and the wine turns out to be bone dry and nice and minerally. This is grown up in the far north of Italy called Alto Adige, on steep slopes. And this is like Pinot Grigio country, and I find this wine to be more interesting than Pinot Grigio. Nice, clean, bracing, minerally, fragrant. Nice wine to start with. So maybe what we would call a skinny wine on the flight. And then all of a sudden, we do a fatter wine. Is this wine fatter because it sees a lot of oak and gets buttered up that way? No. 2 things make this wine a little bit richer in body. The fact that it's made entirely of a grape called Viura, and that would be in Rioja, Spain. So yes, this is a Rioja Blanco. The grape Viura, also known as Macabeo, is not known for high acidity, but more roundness on the palate. And the other thing that's really cool about this wine, perhaps the most cool thing, is that it's a 2016. Can you see the vintage on there? Let's get that up to you. Look at that. We are pouring for you, or to you, some people might think we're doing this to them, a 10-year-old white wine that's still got it. It's really cool wine that just open your mind a little bit and think of what you might eat with a 10-year-old white wine that is not oxidized. It is certainly mellowed out and enriched by time, and the fact that it's made of Viura in Rioja, Spain, it's good wine. I want you to just know that we wouldn't pour crap for you, all right? So this is a nice fuller-bodied white wine before we get skinny again. Probably the skinniest wine of the flight is right in the middle. This fun label represent a wine that is really fun, and some of you have already enjoyed this, especially in your White Wine Club pack. If you're members of that club, you received this Vinho Verde from Vinho Verde. That's a place in northern Portugal, almost Spain, far northern Portugal. This is Patio Pounder Vinho Verde. Slightly frizzante, meaning it has just a little prickle of bubble to it. That adds to the refreshment. Low alcohol, I think we're down at 10%, somewhere in there. Yep, 10%. And it's zingy, fun, skinny, refreshing wine. You know how warm it's about to get out there? This is gonna come in handy out on the patio. Pound it there, pound it anywhere you pound. All of a sudden, we're gonna get a little richer again. A little more body here, not oaky body, just because of where it's grown and what it's made of. This is in fact made of Roll or Vermentino, Grenache Blanc, and dang it, can't remember the last one. Where is it? Picpoul. Grown in Dry Creek by the great producer there known as Unti. This is a winery that makes wine only from their own grapes. So farm to bottle, you could call everything Unti does. So they have strict control over the quality from start to finish. Unti is a blend of 3 grapes. This wine called, what's it called? Cuvée Blanc. Cuvée Blanc. It's kind of like a Châteauneuf de Pape Blanc. If you've ever had one of those, it might remind you of that. A little bigger. Nice with halibut, grilled halibut. How about that? That'd be great this weekend. Finally, we will get skinny again. Yes, the irony of ending the flight with something that's leaner and more refreshing instead of the biggest oak bomb of the wines. In fact, none of these are oak bombs, but like I said, we've gone from skinny to bigger, back to skinny, and so on. This, as you may see, is a very delicately colored rosé. Domaine Foncent is a wine, perhaps the rosé that we've carried more over the years than any other rosé. One reason is because our friends at Kermit Lynch are the importers thereof. The other reason why is because it's damn good, and it's only gone up about $4 or $5 in all of the years we've carried it. Domaine Foncent is from a lesser known place, lesser known to some of you, well known to me, but I still haven't I did get to go there once. I was there for a few hours once. Corbière, down in the south of France. Not the Rhône, but west of there in the Languedoc. And this is going to be Grenache-based. A little smidgen of the signature grape of Corbière. Carignan is just appearing briefly in this. Refreshment. This may, in fact, be the best Foncent rosé we have carried in forever. Really good. A nice way to end this flight of schizophrenia. Don't forget our event coming up. Don't forget that we have that #1 wine on the Wine Spectator's Top 100 list in here. And that's the Chateau Giscourt. Don't forget the green spot. They're after me, Lucky Charms.